Hi everyone, I'm reading for day 21 of Lent, One as We Are One. And the chapter opens with a reading from John's Gospel, chapter 17, verses 20 to 23. I ask not only on behalf of these, but also on behalf of those who will believe in me through their word, that they may all be one. As you, Father, are in me, and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. The glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. I in them and you in me, that they may become completely one, so that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. The chapter then goes on. One of the easiest ways to get a group of clergy talking is to ask them to share funeral stories. Everyone who has taken funerals will have a story to tell. Often these involve recounting stories of dysfunctional families who have fallen out with one another, secrets that have been revealed belatedly, or judgment on how someone has behaved in the past. Such conversations can turn into a competition as to who has the best story. Reality may be embellished to prove a point, and the dysfunctional nature of the reality of some people's lives may be exaggerated. But clergy, of course, are not unique in this. A cursory look at Jeremy Kyle, Judge Rinder, Tricia, Oprah, and Jerry Springer shows that some have built their entire careers on airing family secrets and dysfunctional relations. This is usually to the delight of a whooping audience who feel that at least their reality is not quite as bad as those being portrayed on the screen or in front of them. The church family, too, is not exempt from being dysfunctional. This can be revealed in all sorts of power plays in the church, often through battles of worship styles, seating, liturgy, coffee, and the place of children's ministry. This inability to agree is not confined to inward disagreement, but is often directed outwards at the diocese, the bishop, the government, or whoever it may be. Sometimes it can be played out in a very public digital arena on social media. Pope Francis reminds us in Gaudete et Exsultate, excuse my pronunciation, that Christians too can be caught up in networks of verbal violence through the internet and the various forms of digital communication. Even in Catholic media, limits can be overstepped. Defamation and slander can become commonplace, and all ethical standards and respect for the good name of others can be abandoned. The result is a dangerous dichotomy, since things can be said there that would be unacceptable in public discourse, and people look to compensate for their own discontent by lashing out at others. But let's be honest, all human beings are dysfunctional, and to be in a state of conflict with one another is the most natural thing in the world. We are fragile and mixed up creatures, a bundle of contradictions that we spend a lifetime negotiating and navigating alongside the contradictions of everyone else. Some therapists describe this as a kind of dance in which we all participate. In his excellent book, The Divine Dance, Richard Rohr speaks of God's generosity in drawing us into the dance of the Trinity. In the power of the Spirit, we can partake of the dynamic relationship between the Father and the Son, a relationship that is revealed to us in John chapter 17, the private priestly prayer of Jesus. Jesus had spoken in his final discourses that night before he died, and now in chapter 17 he raises his eyes to heaven and prays for unity, that we may be one. This shows something of the uniqueness of Jesus Christ, the one through whom all things came into being, who will, the following day, draw all things to himself when he defeats death itself. This same Jesus will ascend to God, taking our transformed humanity with him and enabling us to live in forgiven unity. John chapter 17, therefore, reminds us of God's soul and reveals crucial moments for a Christian. Our response must be to forgive as we ourselves are forgiven, even where there is difficulty and conflict in the air. In the world, in our communities, in our homes, and in our churches, we will find conflict. Sometimes it is terrible conflict. But at Lent, we again come face to face with the cross and are reminded of our need to forgive each other, to confess when our vanity has been more important to us than God's generosity, and to live with the confidence of Jesus' forgiveness and hope for reconciliation each day. This is not easy, and it takes a lifetime of work. It requires the church to enable truth to be told, and not a truth that has been honed and sanctioned in advance. The truth can be uncomfortable, and it requires immeasurable levels of listening to enable the truth to set the church free. In this book, we're all given an action to challenge ourselves. And the action is, how could you hear truth that might be uncomfortable today? Are there people on the edge of church life whom I could be better at listening to? We'll finish with the prayer. Dear Lord, all too often I am engulfed in my own thoughts, desires, hopes, and dreams. Yet I recognise that on my own I add to the dysfunctionality of the world. Help me to dance your divine dance, to seek your truth, and to live out my life in the power of your forgiveness. Help me also to show forgiveness to others as we strive for the unity that Jesus prays for and that the cross makes a reality. Amen.